So I got up this morning. It's one of the first things I do is I make a list of the things that I want to get done in the day. I keep the list to less than 5. And so you can imagine when I was making that list, I was thinking about you. That's right. As I made my list of 5 things, I wrote that one of the things I wanted to do, one of the reasons I get out of bed, the reason I roll off the bed and climb up, get dressed, and come down to the computer is because I want to interact with you. Yes. Every single day, I write my list of 5 things, and on that list, one of them is I want to deal with a really crappy client. I want to deal with someone who whines and complains. I want to deal with someone who writes in all capital letters. Yes, on my list of 5, no, I'm lying. It's never been on the list. Not once. Not even close. Even if I made the list 10 or 15 items long, which I would never do, I would never write down, I would like to deal with someone who's impatient, who's creating a sense of urgency because they've lacked any kind of planning. Someone who's decided that in the last minute, their emergency is now mine. Someone who decides that they don't know how to click the uncap all locks because they just love typing like they're yelling. Someone who may not realize that actually there are other things in life I do, other things on my list of 5 things. And so instead, I sit here and I open up an email. I open up a comment form of a website you don't pay for, of a website that you don't interact with other than to come and say, hey, I wanted to write you a note. I asked you a question and you haven't replied back. Guess what? On my list of 5 things, I've never put an item on there that says, hey, get up and go check your email and see if someone wrote you in all caps. See if someone said, hey, I have a project and it's really important because I already got paid for it because someone else already said that, they would hire me to do it. And I already said that I knew how to do it, but now I realize I don't know how to do it. And so I'm going to decide to yell at you because you've waited 3 days and now you haven't replied to me. So please, I'm sending you a second time now, a message to say, please reply to me. And I get up in the morning and I think, that's what I want to deal with. I get up in the morning and I think, by all means, I want to work with you on a project you already charged someone for, a project you already promised you could do. And you decide now, because you can't figure it out, that I need to save you. Welcome to the I may not reply to my comments. I may not even reply to the contact form. In fact, now if you go to my new contact form, it will tell you at the bottom, right underneath where you write your comments, if you're asking me to solve one of your puzzles, it'll say I may or may not reply. That's just to let you know that when I get up in the morning and I make my list of 5 things I want to get done today, it's not on the list. But hey, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're the person that wrote me a great note. Maybe you're the person who wrote me a legitimate question. Maybe you're the person who wrote me a note that said, I'm struggling with some of this stuff and I've read these 2 articles. I've tried these 3 things. I'm a little stuck and I think this might make a good topic. Of course, I could use it too. You know what happens to those comments? You know what happens to those contact forms? They turn into articles. I interacted with a woman just 2 weeks ago who had a big problem. She'd tried several things and she walked it through and she used my Clarity account. She wanted to get on a call. She paid me $6 per minute to talk with her. And as we were talking, it was clear that her project was far bigger than her budget could afford. But she was polite, she was sweet, she was calm, and she was willing to just take any advice she could get. And I said, well, look, I can tell you the size of this project. It's $10,000 to $15,000 and your budget is $1,000. There's just no way to bridge that gap. But you've been so fantastic and your problem is one that a lot of people have. I'd like to write a series of articles that will help you. I'll cover a bunch of different angles on it and I'll write those tutorials, and I did 7 or 8 posts. Such that I got an email back saying, oh, thank you. This is actually working. I'm getting some things working. And I do that for free. She gets those articles for free and she uses them for free. You know why? Because she didn't write in all caps. Because she didn't send me a second note saying, hey, I just wrote you a note 2 days ago. How come you're not answering me? Let me be very clear. You may live the rest of your life with an expectation of entitlement, an expectation that the world revolves around you and what you need, and that the projects you already sold to someone else about skills you thought you had, which you clearly do not. You may have the expectation. that it's my job to fulfill your needs. But guess what? This is a free website. It's a free blog. The contact form and the comments are all for free. I don't generate revenue from that. And your problem isn't my problem. So, give you a quick tip. Ask nicely. Be polite. And by the way, starting the email with, "I love your blog, I read it a lot," won't actually win you points if the rest of your email, the rest of your contact form is loud and obnoxious. It just won't work. You got to do better than that. When you do, I'd love to respond. Thanks.